go. Go, 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 go. 7 years per hour here. Let's make it count. Those aren't mountains. They're waves.
Oh, shit. We need the recorder.
(2014's) Interstellar. It's a fantastic movie. I've watched it several times. Kind of had to. It's pretty heady. It's directed by Christopher Nolan, starring Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway. And it's got a problem. To me, it's a pretty big problem. However, it's not really with the science behind the movie. They really went above and beyond to try to cover their bases there. They hired a guy named Kip Thorne. He's a Caltech theoretical physicist. They put him on as an executive producer to try to get the science as much as possible right with the movie. Now, you still have other physicists and scientists out there that'll nitpick this movie a little bit, but overall it gets a ton of praise for its accuracy. So I don't have a problem with that. My problem is more with the story. You see, how people build stories, you have characters that make certain decisions, and some of them are kind of critical, some of them are very critical. And what I mean by critical is they have to make a decision, they have to go to a certain place or perform a certain action in order to get a proper response, so that way you can build the drama, you can build the thrills, the entertainment, the comedy, whatever genre it is. You know, for the plot to move forward, you have to have, there's certain points, plot points you have that you have to get. Some of them, you know, are kind of small and not very significant, but the one I'm talking about is probably the most significant plot point in the movie, and it never made a lot of logical sense to me. So let's start there. Most of you have already seen this movie, and basically, for those who haven't, you know, you got a dystopian future. It's not so distant future where the earth is dying. There's these sandstorms everywhere. Crops are dying off. It's not the earth is not going to be able to sustain life much longer. They found some kind of mysterious wormhole, and they got to send a ship to it, go through the wormhole, and they've already sent 3 different ships there. And they found 3 planets that could possibly sustain life, so they had to send some astronauts ahead of time just to make sure, you know, that, hey, these planets are viable for human life. And our main characters, McConaughey and Hathaway, along with 2 other scientists, are on a ship sent there to go through the wormhole and check out these 3 planets. Now, they have enough resources, they got enough fuel, air, and food to make that trip and get back. Well, here's the plot point that to me is the most critical in the movie and is the biggest problem in the movie. They get through the wormhole, all right, establish where they are in this other solar system, and there's a gigantic supermassive black hole in the middle of it. But there are some planets around it that could possibly sustain human life, where they sent those scientists. And they're trying to make a decision on where to go to first. Now, the furthest planet out is like 8 months away. All right. And then, of course, there's one that's just right there. So it's pretty close to Gargantua. That's what they have nicknamed the black hole. Well, Matthew McConaughey talks about, well, hey, man, for every hour we're on that planet, it's 7 years. And it's 7 years because of the close proximity this planet is to the black hole, which has the ability to distort time, especially when you get close to it. So he makes that point, and Anne Hathaway's character is like, look, we know you want to get back to your daughter, but we all left people behind. We're all sacrificing. It's not about your kid, all right? Nothing against you, but it's not about your kid. And he comes back with, hey, it's not just my kid, it's everybody on Earth. We only have a limited amount of time, all right? The clock's ticking. If we want to save these people, we got to, we can't sit here and take forever. We got to watch our time. So Anne Hathaway and the other scientists, they agree, you're right. Time is a commodity, just like our fuel, just like our life support systems, the air, the water, the food. So, having said that, they decide, we're going to go ahead and go to the big wave planet, where if anything screws up, then there goes everything. And by the way, it does in the movie. All right, of course, something screws up in the movie, and they end up being on that planet for 23 years, which does a number on their life support systems and especially their fuel. Because by the time they get back, they only have enough fuel to get to one other planet. And so I'm sitting there thinking, why in the hell are they going to go to the planet, the most dangerous planet that could eat up, all their commodities they need to accomplish their mission and get home? By going to the first, because that planet's the closest? I mean, what's shorter, folks? 8 months going to the furthest planet, or 23 years if something screws up on the big wave planet? Well, after about my 4th viewing of this movie, I still come to the same conclusion. It makes no logical sense to go to a planet that's going to screw up all your commodities and is most likely to keep you from accomplishing your mission and getting home. Well, there's only one reason for them to do it, all right? And that is they have to get them to make that decision. That way they get to Man's planet, who's played by Matt Damon, and he's going nuts. All right, so you get all that drama, all that action there. Not to mention all of the emotional scenes that you get that are really moving. All right, and that's all that stuff is at the core of this movie. You can't get to the meat of the movie without one dumb decision, because the writers, I thought about it myself. I'm like, how could they make that decision and have it really make sense to go there first? There's really not a good one. There's not a good answer for that. You have to go there. You have to make everything screw up and burn off 23 years to get the drama and the emotional impact of that ill-fated decision. All right, I got just one other minor problem with the movie. It's when Bran does get to this new world. All right, she manages to get to that 3rd planet, the furthest planet, and turns out it has breathable air. And, that's cool. She's setting up a colony. She doesn't know what's going to happen. She buries her fiance, or the remains of him anyway. And because it has breathable air, she decides to take off her helmet, smell the roses. You can't do that without... look, it's got breathable air, fine. It's like an Earth-like planet, fine. But I guarantee you it doesn't have Earth fungus or bacteria, or microorganisms that can get... She would be dead in seconds within doing that. So, and look, I know they do it in Star Trek, okay? But in Star Trek, they got transporters. They can filter out all the crap. They got all kinds of inoculations, hyper sprays. They don't have that in this movie, in Interstellar. But that's just, that's a small little thing. Other than that, this is a very enjoyable movie. I highly recommend it for anybody, especially a science nut, science geek will love this. And chances are y'all already do love it. It's just that big plot point that I always have a problem with when you kind of take out the logic, and there's no real logical way to make that plot point make any sense to me. Well, thanks for watching this video, guys, and I'll eventually be back with another one. Bye.
Killing main engines! Okay, we're out of orbit. Okay. And for our next trick,